My name is Dr. Wandell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two exemplary people here in Lake County that we like to introduce you to. We have Robin O'Connor. She's the Lake County Clerk, and to her left is Mr. Todd Gouvain, the Deputy Lake County Clerk. And they're going to be talking to us about all the things that goes on inside and outside the Lake County Clerk's office. Greetings, folks.
Greetings.
We're very happy that both of you have taken time from your busy schedule to be with us on Community Forum to let Lake County know about what's happening in the Lake County Clerk's office. Lake County is approximately, 750 to 800,000 people, and of course not all of those people are registered to vote, but we're going to talk about the opportunities that they have to register to vote in every election. First of all, I'd like for you to tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
All right. Well, I've lived in Lake County for many, many years, raised my family, came to Lake County to teach, and was a teacher for 30 years.
Okay.
Taught classroom, was an administrator, and have done a lot of things in education. I also was a Libertyville Township trustee. For 3 years, so that was exciting to do that for 8 years. And so I learned a lot about government in that aspect. I have been doing a lot of other activities such as, Girl Scout leader, Boy Scout leader. I would say that I was very community involved. Met a lot of people. My background is I have 2 degrees. And I have 2 degrees in teaching. I have a degree in leadership and supervision administration. And currently I'm still moving forward and maybe getting a higher degree in that area also. So I have a very detailed, proven background in leadership and administration, which blends and works and aligns very nicely with the Lake County Clerk's office.
Very good. Todd, I want to give you the same opportunity that I gave Robin. Tell our listening audience a little bit about your personal and professional background.
I am from Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Okay.
I attended Lincoln University in Jefferson City, Missouri, and then relocated to the Waukegan area and began working in the clerk's office September of 1995, and I just celebrated my 24-year anniversary with the clerk's office on the 11th of September. Within the clerk's office, I've held many positions. I started in the Vital Records Department, and I eventually moved to the Elections Department, and then later oversaw the Voter Registration Department, and most recently Director of Elections, and now the Chief Deputy for the Lake County Clerk.
You're in Jefferson City, Missouri, which is close to my home of record. I'm from East St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's not too far. But what was your coursework at Jefferson City? What was your
I studied business administration and had no idea that I would land working in elections.
Yes.
But yes.
Okay, now what attracted you to Lake County?
Actually, I came to Lake County to work. There was a part-time or a summer position, actually, because my aunt was a dean at CLC campus for many years, Eleanor Murphy.
Yes.
So I came to work, for a summer. And then I saw the opportunity in the clerk's office, and not really knowing what that was, I applied for the job and got it, and I've been working ever since.
Yep.
Well, Robin, Todd, give us a background on how he got into Lake County Clerk's office. But what piqued your interest in politics?
It's interesting you should say so. Bring that up. Well, when I was a township trustee, I really enjoyed that role.
Okay.
But after my last term, I decided to step aside and try something different. So I began to look at my background and realized I had a strong background in administration.
Okay.
I had county government knowledge. So I said, well, what else can I use my skills to serve the county? And basically, I researched the county clerk's position and said, I think I can do this job. I think I can bring my skills and my background and my mindset to this position.
What is the primary function of the county clerk?
Well, we have the county clerk's office.
Okay.
We have vital records. We have the election. And then we also have a taxing body too, which is tax redemption, we often call that. And so there are 3 separate departments, except we're very unusual because even though we have these 3 separate groups, all of the individuals who work in the county clerk's office, I like to think of us as one big team or one big family.
Okay.
I really treasure the fact that we are a family. And everyone within the county clerk's office is cross-trained. So everyone can switch. Like we have certain needs. Obviously in election time, that's going to be a high need to run elections. That's a very busy time. And yet in June and other peak times, there is a huge wedding swing. So we'll need people often to help in vitals and during the wedding season because we get a lot of people who are applying for marriage licenses. And at the same fact, there are some seasons within the tax season that we need to have we need to have more people on deck for that too. So,
would you say that the primary function of the county clerk is to be the official record keeper in Lake County?
I would say that is one of our functions. I would say other functions are to serve the people of Lake County. We are the facilitators, of elections. Many people, and Todd, I'm sure Todd can tell many stories because Todd has been here longer.
Okay.
But we get a lot of questions where people are asking us to change things. There's like, well, why are you doing that? Yeah. Why do we just show a signature during election time? I want to show my license. Or why? They ask a lot of questions of us, but our response is simply, we do not make the law or the statutes for that. We facilitate. So I like to think of us in our office as offering a service to the people of Lake County in those 3 areas: in the taxing, vital records, and with elections. And yes, we are the keeper of records. So in that respect, yes, we are. When you need a marriage license and those things, all those things are kept with us.
Now, is there a typical day in the county clerk's office?
Is there a typical day in the county office? Todd, do we have typical days in the county office?
Not really.
Not really.
Every day is interesting.
Yeah.
Dealing with the public.
Yes, when we deal, but both of us love our jobs. People have asked me all the time, well, do you like working as the clerk? And I have repeated often, I am a very lucky girl for having this position. I truly love my job. And I know Todd, because we both are very similar in the way we look at things, how we treat people. I know that Todd really values his job, and he is wonderful with people.
Well, Todd, again, you have to be a people person if you're going to be in your position, right?
You do. And working with, the public, we see people from all walks of life and a lot of different circumstances, and a lot of times, obviously the services that we offer, something that they need, and we're there to give them that information and give them direction. Certain things they want to do. They want to participate in the electoral process, or if they need vital records, or if it's something related to tax. But we pretty much cover all the bases, and it's actually kind of rewarding. Very rewarding.
It's very rewarding.
Working with the public and being able to give them something. Essential that they, need. Birth certificates,
Right.
They come in and they say, oh my gosh, is it that easy? And it's like, yes, because they've been to other places, and sometimes it doesn't take a day, to get a document for them. So yeah, it's been very rewarding working.
And one of the great functions is voting, but voting is easy. 1, 2, 3, right?
Well, for you to vote, and when you are registered and you are voting, we believe that it is hopefully an easy process, a quick process.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, lots of work. Lots of work to make sure that the citizens of Lake County have that opportunity to vote. That's another very rewarding experience. When I was part of the first election and after the day was over with, everyone cheers in the office. I mean, we all get excited and cheer when everything comes back and everything's in place, and we look at each other and we go, yes, done. It's very exciting. I just want to comment just a little bit about our office so you get an idea.
Okay.
We pride ourselves that when people call our office for a question, you are not going to be generally put to wait. You actually get a human who speaks to you and answers your question or returns your phone call back. I have been very fortunate to receive phone calls from people from other states who will compliment our staff. I always say your staff, because really we are working for you. But we'll compliment the gentlemen and the ladies in the Lake County Clerk's office who are working. And will say to me often, I'm calling you to let you know that I dealt with this person, and that person did not stop in helping me, returned my phone call, and I was so impressed with that individual who took care of me. And I want to say that because often we do not hear about the great things that offices do. And our office is filled with great people who work very hard for you. And I receive phone calls all the time from people who are just really impressed with the service they received. So that's
Well, tell us about voting, what the different types of ways that people can vote. In other words, they don't just have to come down to the county clerk's office to vote.
No.
Yeah, actually we have 3 ways that people can vote. Vote by mail, which is very popular. A person can request they have to complete an application and send to our office, and a ballot can be mailed to them. And this happens 40 days prior to each election. We have in-person absentee voting, which starts at the same time. A person can come into our office to cast, their ballot. 15 days prior to each election is early voting. That allows individuals, registered or not, because they can actually get registered if they aren't, at one of 16 locations that we have throughout the county for this 15-day period before the election. And then if a person has not exercised their right, they then still have election day to go to their polling place, based on their address.
Why is voting so important? And I mentioned that, I didn't mean to just throw it out there, but we have a representative government.
Yes.
We have Representative Snyder and from the 10th Congressional District, and we have the Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth from the senatorial, but we as citizens have to use them to do the voting for us, right? Everyone say we have a representative democracy, right?
Correct. Well, we believe that elections are what we call the heartbeat of democracy, because this is the system that you can cast your opinion, your thoughts, and I truly value that with the highest regard, and I am constantly encouraging anyone I meet, and individuals or groups, that it is their citizen right to cast these votes and be a part of our process. It's, to me, even crucial. We will often see, and I'm talking, add to this, we will often see that we'll see more voter increase during our general elections where people are voting for, your president, but a decrease in voter participation with municipal elections. And I often want to say, I want them both to be high, because in these smaller elections, you are voting for people who are representing you in your day-to-day life.
Very good.
You're voting for your school board. You're voting for all the individuals that are going to be representing your day-to-day life living. And I think that's very important.
One of the reasons why your guests on Community Forum is make people aware of the importance. And I mentioned before, it's not just the congressional and president and people that we represent that we vote, but it's for our own local elections, which is more important. Well,
it's just it's different.
I guess.
I guess you would say it's different.
I think it's equally important, and all the years working in the clerk's office, a lot of people, and one gentleman in particular, he stopped in, and we were just talking about how he got involved in the electoral process.
Okay.
And it was because of a local election where he had not been a regular voter. However, in a previous local election, the school board passed a referendum for X amount of dollars, which resulted in his tax bill going up, and them building a new school when he felt the school that was already in existence was perfectly fine. But he said that's what opened his eyes, and he realized the importance of local elections because it had a greater impact on him because he was paying more money for this, the school district.
Right.
And I thought that was, that was just very interesting, how he came about to be a part of the process. And then he also went to, on to become an election judge. But a lot of people don't realize how very important local elections, are.
Yes.
You can pick up the phone and call your local alderman.
Right.
You can call a trustee. You can't pick up the phone and call the president. Okay. Both important, but local elections are equally as important because it does have an impact on your life.
Right. And then on the flip side, as I was saying, you'd have the individual who wants that new school building, so that person needed to cast their vote for that. So you need people to stand up for what their beliefs are and their thoughts and vote. I'll share a story too. I was at a festival. We often go to festivals because today we'll talk a little bit later about recruiting election judges. And I met this delightful woman who said, I voted once, it didn't go my way, so I choose not to vote again. And yet she was telling me things that were concerning her. And I couldn't let her go. I'm like, you must come back and talk to me. I said, you need to exercise your vote if you have that strong of an opinion. I said, otherwise, your opinion and what you believe in is not going to matter because you have not voted. So it was interesting because as she left, she goes, all right, Robin, I will consider voting next time. And of course, Todd and I, when people do that, we're like, yes, because not only are we serving Lake County, but our job, I feel, is to encourage Lake County citizens to take that initiative. Take that we are empowering you to make a difference. And we have seen elections where people have been elected by a few votes.
Well, even a tie.
Yeah. We actually had this last election, which was a local election, and we had a particular school board race that was a tie with write-in candidates, which was the first that we've ever had. There were 3 seats, and 2 individuals filed to be on the ballot, and then 2 filed as write-ins to take the other seat, and it wound up in a tie, and we literally had a coin toss to decide.
A coin toss?
A coin toss to decide who the winner was. So when people say that my vote doesn't count, that's not true.
Nope, not true.
Every vote counts, so it's important, for people to do that. And during my time in the clerk's office, we've had maybe 4 or 5 tie races that I can, remember. That was decided by a coin toss.
Okay, so think about that. Tie, Coin toss.
A coin toss will decide who's going to represent you until the next election.
That is correct. That's correct,
It
sir.
may be 2 years or it may be 4 years. I think a state representative is 2 years and a state senator is 4 years, you know.
Correct.
And so my vote don't count. It just,
No. And then let me
true.
explain something else that many people are unaware of.
Okay.
So when you are voting in our smaller election, the municipal elections, your hometown elections, what I like to call them very
Okay.
often, you need to realize that how many styles of ballots? We had like 1,000 styles for that one election.
Throughout the county,
Yeah.
because Lake County is very intricate. We have school, so many layers of government. You have municipal, township,
Yep.
school
Okay.
board, park district.
Yep.
And a lot of that overlaps. So which is what creates all of the ballot styles. So your neighbor, you could have a neighbor, and you guys can be in 2 different school districts.
Right.
And
okay.
some areas, within Lake
I
County.
think in Gurnee, Waukegan, I think.
Right.
On the north
right.
side there.
So one election we had approximately like 1,000 styles of ballots. I want you to think of so that means there's 1,000 different ballots printed for different communities. So when you think of the overwhelming responsibility that we have in the office to make sure that when you vote, you are going to get the right ballot that is tailor-made for you and the individuals in your area. I mean, that is very overwhelming. I mean, example, where I live, I have different elementary school, high school services, where somebody maybe 3 blocks away from me might have another whole different criteria. That's called style of ballot. It's called ballot styles. That is, I like to throw out facts and figures just to have people become aware of the details that we have to ensure when we are running elections.
That voting card is very important. You have detailed information on that card, right?
Yes, we do.
Yep. And one thing I will say that the card itself is not required to vote, but
Okay.
anyone that registers to vote or anytime they change their address, we do mail one to them because that card is where it tells where they need to vote
Okay.
if they want to vote on election day,
Correct.
and then it lists all of the offices that they're entitled
Yeah.
to vote for. So if they are uncertain about what county board district they may be in or what school board district they may be in, if they're in a library district or not, it lists that on that informational piece that we send to all of the registered voters
Right.
throughout the county.
But you do not need that to vote. We have a lot of people who say, I forgot my card.
It's
And we're
really
like,
just for information
no,
Correct.
purpose.
It is informational purposes. And a lot of people just like it because in some places, in some states, they do have to have a voter identification card. We're required by statute to send that, but you don't need it. As long as you know where to go on election day, your information is available there.
Well, I noticed that it changes quite a bit, the location of your voting without moving. So what causes the change?
Oh, interesting. We try to keep our voting sites the same, but there are circumstances where a site may be remodeling and the space may change. We have a series of requirements, like I want to say rules, requirements, let's call them like rules that we have to follow in order for that voting site to be accepted.
Okay.
And it's not Todd and I coming in and going, wow, this looks pretty nice. It's like we have a checklist that has to fulfill the needs in order for that site. And this also includes precincts, because very often people will say, can you move this here? And we have to say no, because we have certain areas that must be covered.
And
distant,
the
yeah.
requirements, I'll just jump in,
Yeah.
for voting sites is statutory.
Right.
Again, and
Okay.
it has to be handicap accessible, ADA accessible.
Okay.
We have to have ample parking. All those things that would allow someone easily to, come to the polling place and cast their ballot. Obviously, we want to keep the polling places as long as we can. However, as Robin said, some places, depending on what they are, they say, we're going to remodel, or we're going in a different direction. And in that case, we do have to find something else that is comparable, for the voters. But we want to always keep that available and easily accessible, for the residents.
I noticed, Robin, you had mentioned a dog at one time, and about maybe bringing a dog in.
Yes.
But now the physical dog is not here, but you do have a dog here. You want to tell us about it?
Well, we have a dog that comes, and our dog's name is Liberty.
Okay.
And it seems like Lake County is a very dog-friendly county.
Yeah.
And we love dogs in our office, so we decided it's important for us to have a dog. We know that throughout the county there are other county dogs, and we're like, well, we're going to have a county dog too. So Liberty does, and we'll be doing visits, but we just thought we'd bring in our cardboard Liberty today, and maybe someday you can meet Liberty in the real.
Well, recently I had the Lake County
attorney, state's attorney?
State's attorney.
Right, and he brought his dog.
And he was very manageable. He just laid right there, right in front of him, you
Right.
know. But he stated that the dog played a great, I forgot his name now, played a great important part in the office.
Yes.
And so I guess because that's something new I hadn't heard of.
Well, and very often I know that in the Child Advocacy Center they have dogs that help calm the children and all of those. Liberty hasn't been in the office yet, but Liberty will be there. Liberty will be in the office eventually. Really, it's Liberty is just a symbol for us to let people know how friendly we are. You know, it really is an element of we are just very friendly. And really want to be of service to you.
Okay.
So we do have Liberty. Liberty is on the poster over here because we are really looking to engage individuals to join our, I guess I call it our election judge club, and come be a member of our club. This year, all the election judges that we are having have to be recertified. So judges go through training, and then every 2 years, is it 2 years,
Yes.
Todd? Every 2 years, judges need to be recertified. So we're going to be doing a lot of election training, and we are always looking for more judges. Do you want to be a judge?
No, I'm a deputy registrar.
Registrar.
By
Good
the way,
for
since
you.
I mentioned deputy registrar, tell us about the importance of deputy registrars.
And well, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I, the length of time I've been working in office for a lot of those years, I remember early on when you would come in to get supplies to fulfill your duties as a deputy registrar. And for those who may not know, deputy registrars are the individuals that we train to conduct voter registration.
So they have to be certified.
That is correct.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And they, we've come a long way from deputy registrar. I think that is the traditional way, but as time has advanced, voter registration has really expanded a lot because, years ago, that was the primary source of registration
to vote,
was
yes.
through deputy registrars. And when the National Voter Registration Act was enacted, it expanded voter registration actually to the DMV, where someone, if they went to the DMV for their services, they could register and vote then.
Yep.
And little by little, that expanded more into a mail-in form, which is a self-certifying form that individuals can pass out or they can download from our website or the State Board of Elections website. That will get them registered to vote as well, more of a convenience. And one thing I will say about that form, because we hear a lot on the news or in the press, they say, oh, people, they aren't verified, and, but the one thing that happens, if a person registers to vote on a mail-in form, obviously no one is acknowledging that person exists. They have to send the form in, and they can send ID in. If they don't send ID in, or if they don't provide us with either a driver's license number or a state state ID number, or if we cannot verify their identity through the last 4 digits of their social security number, the application is still processed. However, that record is marked needing to show ID before a ballot is issued to them. So it's not as easy. It is very convenient. However, if someone sends an application in, unlike deputy registrars, where you actually know that someone is standing before you and they've provided you with ID and they've given you an oath, they still can get registered on that form. And even since the mail-in form, which is another convenience, a few years ago, we now have online voter registration. So Illinois, if a person has a valid driver's license or a state ID, they actually can go to the State Board of Elections website, input their information. But again, they do have to have a driver's license, a valid driver's license or a state ID issued through the state of Illinois, because once they complete all of the application portion, they then have to supply that number, the last 4 digits of their social security number, the date that it was issued, and obviously their birth date. And they run that against the Secretary of State's record where they got the driver's license or the state ID. And if the information matches, then they release their signature to complete their registration. So they have that option. And most recently, with registration, well, technically it still closes 28 days prior to each election. It only closes at certain locations because, as I stated earlier, we have early voting now, where a person, if they're not registered to vote, they can actually get registered and vote, and on election day. So actually, a person, if they want to vote, they can.
They can.
Because like I said, with the cutoff, that was really for administrative purposes. When it was just a hard cutoff, if you weren't registered by that date, then you just didn't get to vote. But as I said, Illinois has really expanded that. The registration is cut off at certain places, whereas you can't go to your local library after 28 days and register. You may have to come to the county clerk's office. The opportunity is still there up to and including election day for registration in Illinois.
What about voting by inmates? Is there any opportunity for them to?
Yes, we do. We actually have a program with the Lake County Sheriff's Office for all pretrial detainees because they are still eligible to vote. So we coordinate with their office before voter registration closes, obviously, and we make sure that everyone who wants to participate gets registered. And then after the registration process is closed, then we also set up a time where our election judges, accompanied by our staff, actually goes over to the jail under the supervision of their leadership and those individuals who have registered and expressed that they want to vote are allowed to do that.
Fantastic.
I know. It really is. It is the world we live in, at least in Lake County. We really try hard to offer all opportunities for those who want to vote and fill the requirements to be able to vote. So I do want to bring something up because this is a common question that we get and a little concern. People ask us all the time why they always are bringing up the question of driver's license to vote. Do you need a driver's license to vote? And the answer is no. We are using your signature. Now, you needed a driver's license or the required forms of ID to register.
Okay.
But you do not need to hand your driver's license to the election judge when you walk in. So that is a question that we get. And many people will ask Todd and I, well, we don't agree with it. We want to change it. And we're like, remember, we are the facilitators of the laws. We do not change. So if you feel strongly about something, this is why you vote in an election, so that you can speak to your elected official and say, this is something I like or this is something I want to be changed.
While we're on this, you mentioned about all the opportunities that you're giving people to register to vote. what about off-site locations for people to register? In other words, I noticed at my church became a site, and I was interested in that because I was listed as a facilitator for this, you know. And there's other sites that people can go to register, but that's something. Is this something new too?
No, we actually have we have a brochure on our website, official places of voter registration.
Okay.
Most of our municipal and township offices have deputy registrars. So those are listed, most libraries throughout Lake County. But anyone that's a trained deputy registrar, like your church, for instance, most registrars can actually conduct voter registration any place in the state of Illinois, and they aren't just limited to
now, when
to
I
their
do
site.
that, if I were to have a meeting, and do I have to have a person from the clerk's office to come to conduct it, or I can call them forum, for example, and to have get registrations?
Oh yeah, I mean, as long as you have trained deputy registrars, a lot of people will contact us, but they don't have to.
Okay.
As long as the individuals that are conducting the registration are trained and able to do so, then they can go and conduct the voter registration.
Right. So you can do that. You can do that because you are trained and certified. So you definitely, if you wanted to have that, you could do that.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay. And so I can have a forum, as long as I'm certified, I'm a certified deputy registrar, I can conduct voter registration drives, and so the community can, because our people don't have the time, or they're working and so forth, cannot get to the county clerk's office to register, you know.
Oh, yes.
That I can do.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, yeah, they have drives, or we have some registrars that will go door to door. Sometimes we have, and this is common with the churches. They may allocate a Sunday a month where they say, what, after service, what, if you're not registered, stay, and we'll be sure that we get you registered to vote. Usually that happens a lot leading up to the election, but it can be done at any time.
Definitely.
Oh, this is fantastic. Well, there's always a need, I would say a dire need, for election judges.
Yes.
Right? Why is there such a need for election judges?
Well, I truly believe that it is a long day. When you decide to be an election judge, there's a training that's involved. You do get paid. It's not a lot, but you do get paid for your job, for being an election judge, and it is a long day. I believe it's 5:15. You have to be there around between 5 and, depending on your job. Your job as an election judge, you have certain jobs that you are assigned to. So, and then when the election closes, you are responsible for. It's like a list of responsibilities, so that you can close the election, you can close the site, you can make sure that the ballots are safe and that they're transported in a safe manner. So there's a lot. Your job doesn't end when the election ends for the individuals. So it is a long day, and I do believe that sometimes may cause people ponder. Can I do this? But we also need a lot of them. We need like 2,000.
Because they're the ones
We
who
need
actually
2,000.
facilitate the actual process.
Right.
A lot of people may think it's our office,
it's
but
ours.
it's not. But we have 121 voting sites throughout Lake County, and we need the election judges. So it's your peers that are actually welcoming you in and getting you processed and getting your ballot and all that. So it is a great need for election judges. We always need them. A lot of the judges that we do have, a lot are retired. And in March we have people that we have snowbirds that they're in a warmer climate, so we always have to replace them. And then in November, it could be the same. It's the same thing. So we always need election judges. We're always recruiting, and we're always welcoming those who would like to. Just to be a part of that process.
It is really. I think it's a thrill. And also note that we need election judges for other responsibilities for the clerk's office. You know, when we get mail-in votes and we have those things, we need election judges at our office to take care of these votes, and they have their responsibilities too. So it's not when we have a mail-in vote that we do not have election judges, because we have election judges helping serve in this capacity too. Plus, we have high school election judges too.
Oh.
So we have individuals, we have students that can, and there's a requirement, just looking, I know that there's a set requirement for high school students. They need to have a cumulative GPA of 3.0, and they have to have written permission from their parent or guardian and their school principal. Usually what we are finding is we're finding a lot of classes that are history classes. The teachers are encouraging their students, if they're a junior or senior, to take on this responsibility. And the beautiful part of this is that we go to the high school and we train them there.
Oh.
It's wonderful. I've been involved where I've walked into a few of the classes and visited the students. And we have one class, we must have had 20 students in that one particular class, all wanting to be an election judge. So I believe also too, sometimes they get credit on their transcript that they're doing a community service as well,
right.
and they're getting paid. And they're really good on the computer.
Okay.
They're fast with their fingers.
Right. You know, that's another point I want to raise with Todd. During your 24 years, you've seen a lot of changes made into the congregation's office, right? And Robin just mentioned one big one, and that's electronics now. You know, electronic.
Yep.
And there's electronic voting, and of course, no more pencil and paper in the office.
No.
No, when I actually started, we had punch card for the voting system.
Yeah.
And then we went to optical scan after, I believe it was around 2001, after the presidential election.
Okay.
With the hanging chads every place.
Yeah.
We went to optical scan, and as technology increases, you know, there are different voting options. However, we like the paper ballot.
Yep.
You know,
Paper.
a lot of jurisdictions,
Tracking,
they have you can vote, but it's all, you know, electronic. We actually still have the paper ballot. It is optical scan, but we still have something physical.
Is that a backup?
That you can, you know, that you can, you know, if need be, you have to, you know, rerun, and obviously people are entitled to discoveries and that may lead to recounts. So all that information is important as we progress with, you know, with the times. But yeah, there have been a lot of changes throughout the years with technology since I started in the clerk's office.
Both of you have proven that this is not just a 9-to-5 job, is it?
No, it is not. No, it is not. I really truly believe if you work in our culture, in the county clerk community, we call it our home, you are a very dedicated employee, because you realize there are times where you are going to work early, come early, and you are going to work late. But in the county clerk's office, there is a dedication to serve. Everyone who is in our office really, truly believes that their job has strong value and is important to others. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very important. You know, Todd, can you expand a little bit? Because I believe there's a lot of people. We use, you know, when I joined the family of the county clerk's office, one of the things that I realized, and this is true of any new job, new position, is that you have to learn the language. Okay. And there is a language within elections. So often I like to describe and explain what certain vocabulary words mean so that people are on board and understand about elections. For example, discovery. Can you go ahead and explain, like, what is a discovery? Because a lot of people may not know what that means.
We hear that a lot.
We do. We always say, there's going to be a discovery. And I'm like, why? And you know, some people are like, what do you mean? What are you discovering? So, Todd, go ahead and explain
So
that.
a discovery occurs when, after an election, and if a candidate loses within a certain percentage that is established by statute,
Right.
then they have the right to examine or discover anything that they feel that may change the outcome
Right.
of that race, also known as recount. It's the first portion of it is discovery, but we hear that word a lot with recount after an election is over. People say, I want to recount. And they think that you actually go through and recount everything, and that's actually not the process. The first process is the discovery, and whatever you find in the discovery, it still doesn't change the outcome or any of the results. That's just information that you can take and petition the courts for a recount.
For the next
so
step.
yeah, so that's the next step, and you know, actually, history was made in Lake County because we actually had our first recount ever because of the last sheriff's
Yes,
race.
the sheriff's race was our
first one?
Yes,
The first
yes.
one. We've had plenty of discoveries, but this was the first time anyone petitioned the courts
Because they
for a
had,
recount.
because of how close it was, never one been that close. Enough
No,
for
we've
people
had a lot of races that were far closer
But they just-
than that. But again, based on the evidence that you gather from discovery,
I got
you know, you still have that right to file.
Now, who pays for that? Do they pay for themselves?
Well,
Ask for the discovery?
well, I'll say this recount, they did have to. The person who requested the party that requested the recount did pay for it.
Yes, correct. And the word statute generally is another word for law. You know, we use that a lot, and
Yeah.
people often will say, what is that? And I'm saying, it's basically what we follow, rules and laws, in pretty much really everything. Pretty much anything that we are going to do, there is a rule or a law, statute that we must follow in order to accomplish that task.
Are you really concerned about all that effort that you have promulgated, you know, to get the information out to people? Such a low turnout in Lake County. Now, I'm picking on Lake County, but this is nationwide.
Correct.
Why is there
Correct.
such a low turnout?
Well, I actually believe that a lot of people feel that, and this is usually with local government elections. So I actually believe that a lot of people feel that maybe their vote doesn't count. And again, like we've talked about, your vote does count, especially in local government elections because, like you said, we've had ties. I mean, we've actually had ties. So it is important. So I'm hoping that by providing options, we have this new logo that we're calling My Voice, My Vote, My Choice, meaning that your vote is important. Your vote is your voice, and we are very fortunate to be able to offer you choices. You can vote by mail, and the common question that we get often is, people are often sometimes scared of the U.S. mail. Like, will you get our vote? And we are very systematic. Everything is logged. We are very systematic. And yes, we had a question once where, do you use vote by mail? And we're like, of course we do. Every vote is counted and protected and safe. So you have your vote by mail, your early voting, which is becoming very popular now and should be, because a lot of people do not want to wait in long lines. And this gives them ample time to go ahead and vote early. And then, of course, on the vote by day. I'm just going to throw out some questions that we get, and Todd, you and I will answer. We get a question is, can you bring your cell phone into the election booth? And the answer with that is, yes, we do understand that in today's world, individuals will look up information on their phone. We understand that, but we are not allowing one to take pictures. You know, you cannot take a picture.
They can't make a
And they can't make a phone call.
Right.
But we know people that will get up on their phone and they'll look up their information. Our phones are now our computers, our mini computers that we have now. So we understand that the world is changing in that aspect. But we can encourage all three different ways for one to get out and to vote. It's very important.
And one thing I will note, a lot of people don't like to vote by mail for whatever reason, whatever myth, and this is not just Lake County, but a lot of places, they don't feel like if they do you guys only count the vote by mails if the race is
Yeah,
close. It's
I
like,
know.
no, we count everything. But there is a feature on our website where they can track their ballot. So if someone requests an application, they can log into our website, supply their credentials as it pertains to them, to see when, they can see when their ballot was mailed to them. They can see where it was mailed to because they give all that information. And when they mail the ballot back, they can actually track to see that we've actually received it back. So we do have that, just like if you order something online, now you can track to see when you'll get it, when it's supposed to be delivered. It's the same thing with the person's ballot.
Right. So we have brochures that we pass out, and simply if you're interested in being an election judge, you do not have to fill out forms. You really can just call our office, and we will take your information, and then we will move from there. It's a very, very simple process. But we have brochures, and I had a student who was actually doing a government class, and she called us up and said, "Listen, I'm talking about this." I said, "You know what, you can download the brochures from our website. So you can download them or we can bring them to you. We feel that we want to serve in any way, and we will basically figure out a way how we can get information to you. If you don't have a computer, we'll get it to you."
That cuts down on
that.
the expense of the office too, right? By
Yes.
downloading.
Oh, yeah, if you download. Our site is, we have Voter Power, and within Voter Power, you can find out so much. So we really recommend that you go to our website and explore it. We're trying to make it, we continually are trying to make it user-friendly and update it, but it's important that you go ahead and explore and see all the wonderful things that we have on our website.
Okay, boy, time has really flown here now. It just seemed like we just got started. But so maybe the few minutes I have left, what about the number of employees that you have and what type of budget that you have? We talk about saving money on online information, but tell us about the number of employees and the budget.
We have currently 36 employees.
Well, okay.
The specific budget number I don't have, but one thing I will say about the budget and our office as it relates to elections, because it's very expensive, one thing we do save taxpayer dollars because every step of that process our office handles. Whereas a lot, from ballot production to signage to the voter information guide, our office does all of that.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of jurisdictions, they may farm that work out
Yes.
to other companies or vendors to do that, but we literally do everything from the ballot printing downstairs and our print shop for the county.
Right.
We do everything, the packing of the ballots, So we do a lot, which in turns saves a lot of money. It's
Definitely.
Now
very
you're
cost
at the
efficient.
county board meetings to take minutes.
Oh,
or
yes,
they
I
have-
do that. Yes,
you
we
do
also
that?
take the minutes for the county board meetings.
And you also is another. Do you have to make a budget presentation once a year?
Oh, when you are creating a budget, it is, we have a budget analyst. We talk to that. It's several
Okay.
meetings. It's not just a one meeting. It's a several meeting process, and we look at past history. We look at what we're doing in the future. We're looking at what we can cut, what are our needs. And you do have to realize that because elections are what I consider fluid, there may be one year where we need to update more machinery, we need to add. It is a constant process. And before we end, I just wanted to talk a little bit about cybersecurity. Can I talk a little bit about that? Do we have
Okay.
time? All right. Cybersecurity is incredibly important to our office and to the county. So we have partnered up also with the state. So I wanted just to paint a picture because a lot of people ask us, are we safe?
Yeah.
And we, and Todd will agree with this, our whole platform is to be proactive instead of reactive. So we're always looking to say, what's next and how can we best prepare for that? So yes, there are always going to be concerns, but here is what I want to paint the picture of. Think of the county clerk's office as like a castle, all right? And I want you to think that if there's a moat, that is the county office. We have county experts in technology and in cybersecurity that are protecting us. And then now think about the state has, we have been using some grant money and coming up with plans so that we align with the state, and they're also watching. So I like to tell people that we have a dragon that's flying above the castle. So we have this moat, the dragon, and we have a big door. We are very, very careful and proactive about keeping votes safe, secure, and constantly updating our program. We are we have like what we consider a digital mindset, meaning that we are electronically our tech gentlemen and ladies. We have gentlemen and ladies within our tech department are stellar on top of things. Your vote is very, very protected. And I just want to reassure everyone that we are constantly doing our very best.
I'm sure that Lake County, after viewing this program, will know that they have made the best selection for county clerk. And you're very active, and I was going to have you elaborate on the changes that you have recommended since you've been there. Matter of fact, you've been in office, what, a couple years?
No, I've been in office now, 9 months?
Oh,
8 months?
Since December.
Yeah, since December.
Oh, my goodness.
December 3rd is my 1-year anniversary.
And
Learned a lot.
And your motto was, what is it?
It's
been on the screen.
Our motto for this year is, my voice, my vote, my choice. You know, this is we view the county clerk's office as your office. If you are in the county building and you are at our desk, you are welcome to say, can I speak to Robin? And I come out to anybody who asks to speak to me. I feel that I am working for you. And I am very fortunate because I have Todd as my right hand. He is an incredible, informative, fair, kind individual, and all I can say is that your team is a wonderful team, and we work very hard for you.
And every new director don't have the opportunity to have a Todd.
No, I am very fortunate to have a Todd.
Well, thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for viewing another session on Community Forum with Robin O'Connor, the Lake County Clerk, and Todd Govan, which is he's the Deputy County Clerk. And you can see they are a exemplary team that we can be proud of to have in the Lake County Clerk's office. With a motto of my voice, my vote, and my choice.
That's correct.
Fantastic. That sounds original to me.
It has been a pleasure.
So thank you
You
very
are a
much.
wonderful, tremendous person.
You're a gem.
Yeah.
And you're another gem.
I always say it's been a slice. Thank you.
Thank you,
Watermelon.
ladies and gentlemen, for
Watermelon.
viewing another awareness session on Community Forum. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.
Oh.